And I'd even said, "Oh, I'll just go steady," you know. And
I think we know what that means, don't we? Is it called making progress?
Yeah. And on the way back, I made a lot of progress. I came over this third one, and just by chance, the side that I came over, there was a dip on the other side. It was quite a sharp dip. Came over that and then landed on the other side, and my back compressed into the seat. I heard this enormous click. And it went all the way up into my ears, and then that bounced me off the bike. And I thought, I thought
you'd done some serious
I thought
damage.
I broke my back here.
Wow. So good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Just Ride Podcast. We are dead excited tonight to have our first guest, local guy Robbie Wallace, who's the 2026 Dakar finisher. He's brought his medal along tonight as well. So we're going to be grilling him all about the Dakar. I think we're going to be ready for the Dakar probably in the next 10 years or
10 years, 10 years.
Once we've learned everything tonight. But so we're dead happy to have him on the show tonight. Andy, do you want to introduce, for the viewers that don't know anything about Dakar, Robbie, do you want to kind of...
Oh, well, first of all, I'm absolutely delighted you're here, Robbie. And I know that I met you a couple of years ago, and you told me about your first experience of going to the Dakar as well, which was absolutely fabulous. And I've been excited all day long that you've been coming along.
You do not know how excited he's been.
I've really been excited. So the Dakar, Robbie finished the 2026 Dakar over 14 days, so 13 stages, 14 with the prologue, over 5,000 miles.
It's a long way.
It's a long way. And Robbie was the first British person over the actual finish line on the. And is that on the bikes and the cars?
I don't know with the cars.
No, we don't.
There'll probably be a co-driver somewhere in the cars that might have beat me. But in the bikes. It was.
In the bikes, but 115 bikes were going, when including the GP guys.
115 started, and I think there was maybe 80 finished, perhaps.
And I think were you 43rd? Were you 43rd overall?
Yes.
43rd,
overall.
And 32nd, was it 32nd?
In Rally 2 class.
In Rally 2 class. Wow, I nearly got it right there, didn't I? I nearly got it right there. But no, we're absolutely delighted to have you here. And it's I don't think any of us proclaim to be Dakar specialists, but we're all familiar with Dakar.
In fact, just for the benefit of some of our viewers who may be a little bit like me, what is the Dakar? Tell us what it's all about.
Well, the Dakar Rally is infamously sort of known for being the hardest off-road event on earth. It started 48 years ago, I believe. So this year was the 48th edition. And originally it went from Paris to the city of Dakar in Senegal. And over the years, sort of early 2000s, the event changed. It did run through various other countries in Africa up until then, not always starting in Paris. And then it got to maybe 2007, and it moved on to South America, where it ran there and all the way through to 2020. So it was still the Dakar Rally, still the brand, still had 2 weeks of racing, doing thousands of miles, extremely long days, and that carried on until 2020, and then it moved to Saudi Arabia, which is where it is now. So that's where I was at the start of this year. It encompasses bikes, cars, trucks, used to have quad bikes, everything. Every form of motorsport racing is there, and it's famously one of the hardest and also most dangerous events on earth. Definitely one of the most dangerous. And then you have to, over the 2 weeks, you're navigating yourself every day, following a road book that you have on your bike. So you have to navigate these thousands of kilometres through it, going through various different checkpoints, and you are...
does that automatically move, or are you having to manually do something to do that?
So you have a button on your bike which rolls round this... it used to be paper road book, but it's digital now, but it's still in the form of a paper road book.
Yeah. We saw some of those at ABR this year, or last year, there was a number of people using road books. So. Yeah.
But in a general run through, that is what the Dakar is, and it's famously hard to finish.
And you know that from last year. Was it last year? Did you have a...
Yeah, so last year I made my first attempt at Dakar, which, just getting there in the first place was unbelievable, just for anyone to try and get there. But last year I made my first attempt and it didn't go to plan. I had a bit of an off after 5 days, which resulted in me coming off the bike, knocking myself out. I don't actually remember any of it.
Is that when you got hit on the side of the...
Yeah.
When you looked at your helmet, there was a whacking great big... there was something that obviously hit you on the side.
We think I was going along this really rocky section and my front wheel just skipped out and I wasn't able to get my arms out quick enough and ended up landing on my head. So helicopter was summoned.
Wow.
And I mean, the helicopters are there within like 2 minutes. Because on the event, well, just gone this year, I counted there was 14 helicopters just on the event.
Wow.
Right.
So it was there fairly sharp. Got me lifted out and then went to the hospital somewhere, can't remember, some city that I can't pronounce. And
We definitely can't.
No. Tom, look that up.
and then got going. I had a day off and then it was rest day and then I was allowed to rejoin. You're allowed to rejoin the rally once.
Right.
So rejoined, and if I'd have had any more failures after that, I'd have been out completely. But by that time, because I missed a day, I was already out the ranking.
Yeah.
But they allow you to carry on that one time. So I managed to get to the finish. So I did actually get to the finish. I just didn't get the shiny medal that.
Yeah.
And is that just because you didn't complete that one stage?
Yeah. So to get the medal, you have to complete every metre, every centimetre.
Oh, every centimetre.
Wow.
Of Dakar.
Wow.
Wow.
So it was. So then, going back this year, it was a bit of a challenge whether we would go back or, because there's the fundraising involved and the money involved is obscene.
Can I ask that? Because I know that the first time you and I had met and we were chatting about you were going to do the Dakar, and I thought, wow, we all love motorbikes, but that is just a different level.
It's another level, isn't it?
Not a different level. It's probably another 10 levels up from where we are as motorcyclists. But there was, just to qualify to go to Dakar, you had this long journey you had to go to as well, just to get enough points so you could qualify to get in there. So it wasn't a case of just saying, yeah, I'm going to do the Dakar and paying you money, your entry money. You went all over the world to get these.
Yeah, so it was, just to be able to try and qualify, firstly, you have to be half decent on a bike.
Yeah.
And that all started back when I was 8 or 9.
Right.
Got a bike, got a little pit bike thing, and then I showed I was really keen on that. So we got an upgrade to a KTM 85, which my mum wasn't too happy about. Because that's when it started to get a bit serious. He's not just riding around the field, he's actually racing. So, and then just did local enduros most weekends, did championships, then went on to doing British Enduro Championship all the way through. And then I got to a bit of a cornerstone where I was like, I could keep pushing on doing British Championship stuff, but I was like, but I don't think I'm ever going to be British champion doing it that way.
Yeah.
So what are my strengths? And my strengths are, one, I just happen to be good at, or maybe an idiot, at going really fast, down any fire roads or anything. I was, against other lads, I was always just the quickest lad, and I would always probably break the latest as well. So I was like, I enjoy the speed and I enjoy the danger. And then in second to that is, I like to think I'm not too daft. So the navigation part, I like the challenge of that as well thrown in. So when you put them two together, you end up with you end up in the sport of rally. So we thought, now how do we do a rally? And it was a case of, we bought a Husqvarna 500 4-stroke and put this really rudimentary rally kit on it, and then we were like, right, we need to enter a rally somewhere. Let's have a look at what we can do. So we did this little small, me and my dad, did this little small 2-day rally in Portugal with a company called Rally Moto,
Right.
and they're sort of the UK's number one destination for anybody wanting to do any road book rallies or anything like that. Did this little one in Portugal, and then we thought, we best do something a bit bigger than that. And against all advice, we went and entered this big race in Morocco Desert Challenge.
Wow.
And that was a 8-day race. So I was really thrown in at the deep end there, and went on from there. Right, I mean, I'm skipping through these things. You could talk for hours about each one of these events, and I did a whole host of rallies all over Europe following on from that, all with the aim of looking towards Dakar, but never had the funds for it. So you always just try and build your profile going up through each rally, race in Hungary, Portugal.
Didn't you do Argentina as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and then once we realised, right, we can do Dakar now, I've got the speed, I've got the backing, I had more sponsors with me then, we had to commit to a qualifier event for Dakar. And to qualify, you have to go to one of their World Championship events, which isn't Dakar. So that it's either Morocco Desert, Rally de Morocco, Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge, and then the alternate one rally between South Africa and Argentina. And just by timings, we thought, we'll do Abu Dhabi. And then just by the way the timings fell, I'd missed the entry for that because I was deciding this in about January. Dakar had just finished of 3 years ago, whatever. So then we were like, right, well, we're going to have to do the next one, which was Argentina. So the credit card came out.
How much does that cost, even just to go and do Argentina?
I think the Argentine one was about 15 grand all in.
15?
And that was
to ship your bike and everything else?
Yeah, all in with everything. But I own the bike as well, so that takes a lot of it off. Because some teams like you they'll prepare a bike for you, and then you rent the bike off them. Yeah. So managed to do that one, and when I was doing it was only a 5-day event, and that was the qualifier. And on the first day, I went really well, and I was going really well through the rally, and I thought, I've done enough now. But I didn't actually realise you had to finish the event to qualify. I thought, just have a good showing, So I was going hell for that, and I think I ended up finishing like 15th maybe on that rally, which was brilliant because that was a World Championship event. Yeah. And then at the end of it, they were like, well done, you'll have qualified for Dakar now. And I thought, well, have I not just qualified like on day 2 or something? Did they not say, he's quick enough? And it's like, no, you have to finish. Because the team I used was a Spanish team, X-Trade Experience. And I used them for Dakar as well. Yeah. So, and then we got back from Argentina, and then we thought, well, we're qualified now. And, I mean, you don't have the resource to do it, but we thought, I'm sure there's been many people in this position before, and some people have stopped there, but we said, let's go ahead. So I announced that I was doing it. Yeah. And then just went through rounding sponsors up, and there's so many great people out there who support you, and I've been really fortunate to find some great sponsors.
So do you want to give a shout out to some of your sponsors today?
Yeah, to the especially Broom Mill Farm, the Dickens, TCC Plant, Rally Moto, Criterion Group, Motorrad Connection.
He's on this.
There's pressure now.
They did your helmet, didn't they? Motorrad Connection did your helmet.
Yeah, they did my helmet.
Yeah, which is fabulous, by the way. I really like that.
Yeah.
But no, I've been really fortunate. So that got me halfway, and then held a fundraiser in the November of that year. This is all prior to my first Dakar. Yeah. And then we just about crossed the line, but for Dakar, you're looking at to be on a supported team, it's like 45 grand, 50 grand. Right. Wow. So,
and is that where X-Rates come in as well to support you in doing maybe the paddock stuff? When you're getting back.
So X-Rates provide the service for me. So they'll take my bike. I'll drop my bike off at their workshop in Spain. They take it to the port, and the ship that goes to Dakar, it's one ship. It's that you do all your signing on and scrutineering in Barcelona, and then that one ship goes. I think they do it like that so nobody can moan that my car's not here because it's on this ship or that ship. They just put them all on one ship, and that ship arrives 4 weeks early or whatever for the event. And they take all responsibility for that, and for my admin as well, in terms of registering for the event, which took a lot of pressure off me actually, because especially if it's first time round, it's all these extra things that you don't want to think about. And I'm figuring out how to make T-shirts and stuff and sell them, how to make a website, how to...
All you want to do is ride your bike, really. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was the easy bit, I thought, when I got there. Actually riding the bike is something I know how to do. But everything else was learning, even doing things like this, it's all new experiences.
Yeah. And when you say we decided, is that just you and your dad, or is there a kind of bigger team when you say you make
Me and my
decision?
dad.
It's just you and your dad, is it right?
That is the team.
Your dad used to, didn't your dad ride a bit as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he used to do a bit of beach racing. Well, he's done everything, car rally and everything over the years, but he was sort of, his best on a bike was when he was doing the British Beach Racing Championship.
Yeah.
So
I used to go and watch that at Redcar.
Yeah, well, he'll have been racing there.
Yeah, one of my friends was racing as well,
All right.
and I remember it going right down the beach, and he had an off at the end and did his shoulder.
Right.
So I had to go on. I had to go and pick his bike up right at the farthest distance and push his bike back up the beach. CR500 it was, Honda CR500.
Yeah, I think he had a KX 500 because there were 2 strokes, and I think he says that they ran them on methanol,
Yeah,
so they were pumping out a lot of power.
Wow.
yeah.
So
And they really went down that beach. Yeah, they really did.
Robbie, how did you come to choose the bike you did the Dakar on? Because obviously there's loads of different bikes out there.
So with rallying, especially at the top end, KTM is the only manufacturer have been for the previous few years who have been able to provide a bike that you can go and buy from the dealership. So you can buy KTM 450RR, which is completely different to a 450 EXC. These bikes they have a different frame, different engine, different wheelbase. They have 3 fuel tanks, 32 litres of fuel.
Wow.
So you got a fuel tank either side, and then one under your back seat. Is like under the seat?
Is that there, Tom?
That is my
Tom's
bike
brought up-
there.
Right, we'll drop that into the podcast, but that's
So yeah, it's a serious bit of kit.
Yeah.
You can buy that from the shop.
You can go and buy a race. I mean, they only make a handful every year. I think last time I heard they made 75 a year, and they're like a new one of them's 37 grand. I think 36 grand.
Wow.
So, but just because they're so bespoke, I think the R&D that goes into it, they have to claw it back somewhere. But yeah, that's
Who wants to do the Dakar?
No.
Wow.
So
Wow.
After tonight, probably not.
like you can't buy. Well, you can't buy a factory Honda bike. I mean, you can get one similar, and no, I mean Cove now. The Chinese manufacturer. They're bringing out some good bikes now, and I think that looking for the future, I'd probably now do a Dakar on a Cove.
Okay.
Would that be electric, or would that be still 4-stroke?
No, 450. So that's the 450 is the limit on FIM World Rally events. Just there used to be the lads used to ride like 800s, whatever they wanted.
Right.
But now the limit on these is 450cc. But I think they've been thinking about upping it, and then we also have a speed limit of roughly just under 100 miles an hour.
On the sand.
Not the rocks.
Yeah.
So they do limit us that. But when you're at that, you think
Through the air. Yeah.
you think this is about quick enough anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, KTM's the bike that has won for the last 20 years or so. I think they've been pipped to the post a couple of times by Honda, and possibly Yamaha. I don't have the fact sheet in front of me. But yeah, so that's the reason why the majority of the field ride KTM 450s, because it's a customer bike that you're able to buy. So really they put a lot of resource into that, and it's paid dividends for them.
Yeah.
From a reliability point of view, if you can show that your bike can do Dakar, then you'll sell bikes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know as part of your sort of get ready for the Dakar for this year, you went and did, I know I saw on your socials, you went and did Scott Trial, which is the one down in Yorkshire, isn't it? The one, is that for Thirst Club? Is that for Thirst Club organised? Richmond, isn't it?
Richmond organised the Scott Trial. So the Scott Trial was, or is, they call it the hardest one-day trial in the world, and I would agree with that. So I only got into trial.
How did it go, Robbie? How did it go?
I'd never really done trials until I came back from Dakar last year, and a few of my friends ride trials, so I thought, I'll give it a pop. So, but something a bit different, enjoy my year a bit more, doing something else. And then I decided to enter the Scott Trial, which was not my wisest idea, considering it was. I just struggled. And anyway, I got round to the Grouse Moor, which was about halfway around, and then the stop you just because on time you're not going to finish in time.
Yeah.
But
Is it just the terrain? Is it the terrain and or the conditions? What is it?
so it's more like they send you up these hills that
Right.
you'd struggle to walk up. Well, you will struggle to walk up 100%. It's sometimes easier on a bike to get up. You know, and they were sending up these waterfalls, like 6 foot waterfalls, just a straight step up it. And,
On a bike.
Yeah. So,
Oh, wow.
So there was some really serious stuff in there. But the stuff like that I actually wasn't too bad on, because if you just commit to it, then it wasn't too bad. But it was the other little, it was just it's constant. It's constant on your body. And it was driving me round, and then you get arm pump, and then you feel like you're overheating, even though it's like 3 degrees or whatever, because it's running late October. But yeah, that was the Scotch Rally Some event, and it's a brilliant event to watch as well. And they get riders from all over the world come to do it.
So interesting. I mean, obviously,
But I didn't finish. But I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again this year. I'm going to just keep going until I finish.
Yeah.
Whether it takes me 10 years, I'm going to do it.
so extreme motorsport is tough on your body. So, I mean, have you got a routine for keeping fit? Do you have a special diet? Is there anything like that? So you prepare yourself?
So for my physical preparation for Dakar, I had a PT, which I used every week with one of my friends, so that was quite nice to be able to push each other.
Do you want to give him a mention?
Jack.
Jack.
It's
Well
actually,
done, Jack.
Jack Spenceley.
yeah.
Oh, right. got you.
Yeah, Jack.
So,
Is he good? Is he good?
yeah, he was all right. He was, he outpunched me in some parts of it, so I was quite proud of him for that. But yeah, no, it's that was really helpful. And then I just tried to do a lot of cardio stuff on the side. So with the PT, it was mainly conditioning training. So real high intensity, because quite often on the bike, it's when you need your strength, you need to apply it 100% of your strength. Like if you're stuck in a dune or something, or there's various things. And then for the cardio side of things, I've just did running and rowing machine and whatnot, everything I can do at my house. And then also you have to ride a bike as well, which is handy practice. But the problem is, the closer you get to Dakar, the more you're worrying about riding a bike, and the more you're worrying about getting an injury.
Yeah.
And it is a bit of a theme
Yeah.
that some people have some fairly nasty injuries in December. Right? It's like unusually like people talk about it saying, "Oh, you don't want to be riding your bike like in December before Dakar," because there's been some awful injuries where so many people. I mean, this year I could name 3 riders that didn't do Dakar this year because of injury prior.
Yeah.
And it's just one of them things. I don't know whether it's the anxiety and whatnot, riding a bike before and trying to push yourself. Yeah. So in December, I didn't touch a bike.
But was it in November time you went to Qatar then? Was that because you rode a Honda then, didn't you?
Yeah. So in November, I did sort of my last bit of rally prep, which was the Qatar Baja World Cup, and that was a 3-day race, and that was my only chance really to have a go in some sand dunes, just because obviously there's not many around here.
Is there any Land's End?
Not at Redcar. Not a great deal at Redcar anyway.
So I had tried to get a bit. Well, actually, I hired a bike, a Honda, and it wasn't in the best of shape, but I thought it was just easier than shipping a bike out there just for that event. So I hired a bike over there, and it was only in the second day of that race that you actually go into the sand dunes, and it was. I was just riding, and I saw the sand dunes sort of start to appear on the horizon, and then I hit this rock, and the bike just went boom. And I thought, don't tell me I've come all this way, been racing for a couple of days for this bike not to get me into some sand dunes. And I was running really well. I could have probably got a podium at that event, so I was a bit disappointed. But I thought the big picture. But anyway, I did manage to get the bike going. It was a rock had come through under the sump guard, and it had knocked off the electronics to the fuel pump. It had like snapped off the connector, the full connector, so there was just the prongs sticking out. So I managed to. So I didn't have ideally it would have been super glue to fix it, but I just want something I was carrying. Normally it's just zip ties and tape, and that wasn't ideal. So I was putting lots of zip ties together, and
so that So obviously you can take limited supplies with you. So what is there a set kit you're allowed or not allowed to take?
So it's initially when I first started, the kit that's required to carry on is mandatory for desert rallies. Is like it goes as far as carrying a flare, first aid kit. I can't remember. There's a lot of things then, but now really they just want you to have a little first aid kit, a tin blanket, so you can shield someone. You need to make sure you have 3 litres of water on you, and I always just carry like a multi-tool Leatherman and then various sizes of zip ties because they do save the day.
So you haven't got a backup helicopter just following you around?
No. And
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, and then maybe just the odd lever taped to the side of the bike.
Wow. So it's really raw. So,
Oh yeah. And if going on to that, it's they do have marathon days at Dakar, which is where you have to, after you've done the full day, which might be 300-400 miles, you on the marathon days you don't return to the bivouac, which is where all the vehicles are, or the service crew travel on the road during the day. On the night you stop at this. Well, it's just a truck in the middle of nowhere, and that's your bivouac refuge for the night. And they'll give you a tent, and give you a roll mat, give you a sleeping bag, and then give you an army ration pack. So, and then you have to serve. So I put my tent up and everything, got my boots off, and you don't have any spare clothes or anything, so you're just walking around in your undies, and there's no toilets as well. So it's a bit of a minefield, a bit of a minefield on a morning.
It was not actually a minefield if you're taking a dump.
Yeah, no, it was. And then service your own bike. But I was fortunate enough that my bike I looked after it that day because them 2 first days of the marathon, you got to look after your bike.
Yeah.
So I only had to just change my filter and go through a few things.
So
Sorry, Mark, just before you move on. So as a viewer, that day is a nightmare because obviously your dad's waiting to upload any information to socials, and he's getting limited information. So you're waiting to find out how's Robbie got on. Has he finished? There's been no accidents. There's been no injury.
Is he carrying a problem?
Is he carrying a problem? All of them sorts of things. So you're waiting on socials to pass that information.
Yeah.
So that was, and I remember then it comes through, his dad posts something. We've managed to hear something from Robbie and everything is okay. The bike's running all right and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, great. I can relax now. While Robbie's in the desert,
I'm going for a
dodging the
pint.
minefield, I'm going for a drink.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to ask that actually. So obviously, just thinking about technology and stuff, you use the road book on the bike, but what about communications and what if something bad did happen? I mean, because obviously mobile phones don't work in the middle of the desert. So
you've got there's a GPS unit on the bike, which talks to the organisation, and now you can't use that for any sort of travel or like direction where you need to go or anything. But should there be an issue, firstly, if you have a big off, they know you've crashed big. There must be a G sensor in the unit. Or if you're stationary for an X amount of time, they have the ability to contact you and actually talk to you through this unit.
Oh, nice.
So and that goes to the headquarters in Paris, so you can speak to somebody there. From that side of things, the safety is brilliant. It's a lot better than what it used to be, because people before did just get lost and that was it. They never turned up. So it's a lot better than it was, but you still always have it on the back of your mind, especially when you're riding along some days, and if you pass a bike and there's no rider with it, then you know that they've been shipped out. And there was one day, I think it was day 4, it was just by chance, by the speed I was riding, I saw 3 different riders getting loaded up and literally being carried into the helicopter each, and just as I was coming around the corner, just by chance. And then there was 2 other bikes off the course that day, so you knew the people were dropping like flies. So that makes you ease off a little.
Is that a problem though, if there's helicopters in your and assume that's going to be anywhere, so it could be the sand dunes or whatever, and is there not a problem with the downdraft and all that when you're riding?
Well, I mean, they're not. You never really see them. If you're thinking I'm doing 300 odd mile, you might only be like 30 seconds of your day you'll see them. But they do, you see them flying the route often and coming over your head. And then if you think you're a little bit lost, I know that they always fly the route. So you think, if he's flying that way, then I know where he's going.
You just have to keep up there.
Yeah.
So Robbie, do you know when you're doing a stage, obviously, whatever the distance may be, do you have a point where you stop to have a break, or is it like literally you start and you don't stop until you get to the end?
So you'll firstly on a morning you'll do your liaison like to the start of the stage, which can be hundreds of kilometres or just 50 kilometres, it depends. So you've got that first stint in the morning, and that's when it's really, really cold. Just a few degrees, and you get kitted up in all your gear, and then you have warm gear on top of that. Yeah. So I had like ski salopettes and a big jacket, and then and ski gloves, and then once you get to the start of the stage, you carry a little bag that they give you at the start of the event. You put all your warm gear in there, and there's this one van that does like all the warm kit for the lads for 2 weeks. Just throw it on the back of there, and then fill your bike up, and then now you're ready to start the stage, and the sun's up. You normally always start after sunrise. Yeah, because it's just you're not allowed to race before sunrise.
I know. I've been in the desert, and I know it's cold.
Yeah. So and then get going, and refuel's normally about 200 to 250 kilometres in. So that's 130 miles or something, let's say, on average. And then for your refuel, you'll come in, it's like a neutralisation point. So when you come through, your GPS bleeps, and then it says you have 20 minutes neutralisation. So then you ride and that'll be on a speed limit as well. So you'll slow down to, I think it'll be 20, 30 kilometres an hour. Ride to the fuel truck, there'll be a fuel truck there. Get off, fill your bike up, get back on, then ride to the next little gazebo bit where they'll have lots of water and a couple of benches so you can fill your bike. And that 20 minutes is now only about 12 minutes, because by the time you've filled up and everything, it's quite tight. So you take your helmet off, then your earplugs out, and then take your backpack off, fill your Camelback up, number one, put some hydration tablets in it as well. You've had a shake, put it back in, and then try and eat a few, whatever you can. Like I normally carry a few little energy bars, bits and bobs, stuff that down your neck. And then next minute, you've only got like 2 minutes left, so helmet back on, go, and off you go.
What about toilet breaks? What if you need to go when you're bouncing around?
Well,
we know what you're like when I'm to stop for a toilet.
When you're working that hard, I was only
most of the fluid will
I was maybe only going like once.
Really?
When at the refuel, I'd just nip round the back and because you just
dehydrate, don't you?
Yeah, I was drinking like maybe 7 litres a day.
Wow.
But I don't. That's rough. It was 2 Camelbacks. So yeah.
I was going to ask that question about, because when you look at the Dakar riders, obviously they've got packs must be carrying them on their back, are they? And you'll have a chest plate on as well. What other safety equipment are you wearing underneath you?
So you've got an airbag vest. I wear an Alpine Star airbag vest, and that's just got 2 cartridges in behind your neck. There's this little control module thing, and then any sort of irregular movement. So if you flip forward or it can sense if you hit the ground hard, but it's pretty good. But I've had some small crashes and it goes off, and they're about 100 quid a pop, these, or 80 quid a pop, the cartridge. So you're just like, bugger. So I went through a few of them. I wouldn't like to know how much money I've given Alpine Stars over the last 2 years.
Maybe they should sponsor you.
Well, they've got a man on the event who drives around in this little camper van, and he has like boxes of these. Like, he's like a bomb just driving around.
All the gas canisters.
All the gas canisters there. So, but I always try and sweeten him up for a deal. Then he always gives me a little bit off, and then I managed to get a cap out of him as well. So,
has he got a little card machine? He's like,
yeah. So I said, and then because he always says, euros or Saudi reals, and I say, I've only got pounds. And then I always do some dodgy exchange rate for him. He says, oh, well, it's like, he says, oh, 90 euros. I'm like, oh, 75 quid, then that'll do it, even though it's a bit off.
Yeah.
So I always get him a bit cheaper. And he just goes, yeah, whatever. But he'll probably get in trouble.
No, we've gone to the Alpine Star fan over in the corner as well. Tom likes his Alpine Star stuff.
But yeah, these airbag vests are really good. They're mandatory now as well.
Are they?
So
Interesting.
there used to be people who'd wear a neck brace, but nobody really wears. Well, you can't wear a neck brace with your airbag vest because if it goes off, it's like just pop your helmet off or whatever. But yeah, that's the way forward now. Yeah.
So, this last rally you've done, that was your second or your third?
That was my second Dakar.
Dakar. So what?
And my first finish.
First finish. So, what would you say was the most memorable or most exciting moment this time around?
Well, with all the nerves and everything I had prior to coming again this year, deciding to do it again to actually get that medal, it was.
Shows your medal. We want to see the medal. Look at this.
Look at
this.
this, viewers. Look at that.
That is
Catch
great.
it in the light.
In the lights. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a proper. You know when you're holding it.
Yeah.
It's a proper bit of weight in that.
It does. It weighs quite a bit. Yeah, that's really impressive. Though.
But yeah, when I was coming to the finish, I mean, yeah, I've got some brilliant stories throughout the event, which made me happy and which I'll remember forever. But just being able to get that medal, it was. I didn't believe for the whole rally because actually in the second week of this year I had a fairly big off again, and I landed on the other side of this. When it was more like I went over this brow, and on the road book there wasn't a caution. So normally if you have up to three cautions, single caution, you're sort of aware of it, don't really slow down for it, but you might do a little bit. Double caution, you back off for, and then a triple caution. If you don't back off for, you'll probably be killed.
Oh wow!
It's like,
Oh wow!
It's like you'll be a cliff or something absolutely horrendous that if you don't back off for, if you don't see it, you'll have a real nasty one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and then this brow that I went over, there was two prior to it, just fast rolling like sandy brows, but not quite dunes. I was sort of in the middle, and I came over the first couple, and I backed off for the first two. And even though I was still trusting the road book that there was no caution, I still sort of did. And then because you have to trust the road book if you want to be quick. You can't just be too cautious. Anyway, I came over this third one, and just by chance, the side that I came over, there was a dip on the other side. And if I'd have gone over the right, it was just a very gradual dip. But on the left, it was quite a sharp dip. And because you're coming over at speed, I'd have been doing, I don't know, maybe 60 miles an hour. Came over that and then landed on the other side, and my back compressed into the seat. And then I heard this enormous click, and it went all the way up into my ears. And then that bounced me off the bike, and I thought, I thought
you'd done some serious
I thought I
damage.
broke my back here.
Wow.
And I did think, that's it, Dakar's over. And I wiggled my toes, and I thought, well, it's still good news that I can feel my legs. So I couldn't stand up or anything. The shock in my back was awful, and it was absolutely excruciating pain. So I managed to crawl out the track, and then this lad stopped, picked up my bike, and sort of asked, do you need the helicopter or do you need the doctor? And in that time, I was thinking, yeah, I do. I've got to have someone check me out, but after maybe 5-10 minutes, the pain sort of went from a 10 to a 9.8. so I thought, well, at least there's some improvement. So if I just keep sitting here, that 9.8 will keep going down. And then I had a bit of a feel around of my back, pressed the bones of my spine. And I thought, and there wasn't any sort of shooting pain from that. So I thought, I can't have broke my back.
Wow.
So managed to sort of crawl towards my bike, lean onto it, lift my leg over onto it, and I knew it was only about 50 kilometres to the refuel. So slowly pressed onto the refuel, got there, and then this doctor, and he supplied me with arrange all of these different pills of various different colours. And I just had all of them. And then after about an hour, so I
Didn't feel anything.
I could still feel the pain pretty sharp, but it was like just like a dull sharp. I don't know. It was weird.
So maybe a 7.8 at that.
Yeah, and it was enough to sort of keep riding. But I did start to like have some.
Hallucinate.
My mind was wandering.
And then you woke up
different-
and you'd over the finish line.
Yeah, no, my mind was in different areas, but I just thought the wheels are still turning.
Yeah.
You're still on for the medal. So that second week was really tough. But yeah, when we got to the, when I got to the final, I did the final big day, and I thought, you can relax now. But I thought, no, don't relax. And then the last day, it was only about 60 kilometres. Oh, no, it was a bit longer than that actually, 80 kilometres or so. Like an hour and a half blast, an hour blast. So that was. There was a lot of emotions on that morning. Didn't know, this is it. You're about to live. This is the dream that you've been living for so long.
Wow.
And then I went. I did go absolutely flat out off the start line. A few people were going steady, and I thought, just keep riding your bike like you know how to. I was really pushing on. Started past a couple of lads, and then for the finish, it brought you round onto the last 30 kilometres was down the sea line. So you were just following like this cliff all the way around. And even then I was sort of, you're not finished yet. The bike could blow up.
Yeah.
You could have a big off. You might end up in the sea.
Just keep
But in my head, like you're fighting with yourself. You're going, oh, you're finished. No, you haven't. You're finished. No, you haven't.
Wow.
And it was only until I got maybe 5 kilometres from the end and I could see the tents and everything of the bivouac, and I thought, you've actually done it this time. and then at that point I just burst out crying in my helmet.
But you're still going to
And
get over
but then
the
I
line.
couldn't see. But the last bit was really fast, so I was like trying to wipe my eyes, fighting with the bike, and I just kept crying more.
That was like us the other week on the Helmsley TT.
It was awful. It was awful. There was more gravel down that TT than I think I've ever seen. And we were doing a bit like hanging on the bike.
Gentlemen, I don't think we can quit riding down.
No.
Been in the Dakar, that's for sure.
Do you know when you came off and obviously the other riders stopped to check you out, is that quite common? Do they do that? Because obviously they're putting their own race.
Oh yeah, well you'd never ride past somebody who stopped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
like-
Because obviously it's a
When-
a welfare thing to make sure obviously a fellow rider.
They will give you time back. Like if you come across a lad and he's broke his leg and you're waiting for a bit of time for the helicopter to come and maybe you have to help load them in and stuff. Because they can monitor where your bike is. If you just go to race control, and you say I stopped for this bike, they'll take your time and they'll give you it back. So that's good. But either way, everyone would always stop,
So everyone would
just
stop.
because you are in the middle of nowhere.
Because you see it obviously on the TV when you watch the Dakar and you see people stopping, but nobody knows how it works.
Yeah.
So when you go and help someone, you don't see any of that because all you see is another rider helping another rider, and they don't realise that they can get the time taken off. I didn't anyway.
I saw a lovely clip on the actual Dakar footage. It was on Discovery on TNT, and it was showing one of the Italian riders, and the guy had broken down. One of the guys had broken down his bike, and the Italian rider was come past. And forgive me for I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he rode about 2k on, and he had this. I think this guy might be the last one for the day, and he turned back on his 2k, went back, and he said to the guy, and the guy was in, his bike was in various different bits, and he said, just put everything back together. So I've got a strap, and he towed him all the way back through the finish line, because obviously, again, as Robbie would have said earlier on, if he didn't finish the stage, he wouldn't qualify for his finishers medal. So, and there was this lovely image of him getting pulled through, and the guy just like saying, "Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for pulling back." But then equally, there's a lovely bit on socials as well of another British rider, Neil Hawker, coming over, and the person is buried. His bike is buried in the sand, and I think that gentleman might be here. And I think it was just because I've rode on sand on an old Honda and stuff, but it's like pretty firm sand. Now you're in really soft sand.
So the there's this. Well, so on that day actually, that was about 3 days after my injury. It was stage 10, and we'd been told sort of that was the killer of the rally. That stage, that was going to be the hard one. And we did actually last year. We rode it on stage 3, like that region, and the sand. So my problem that day was every time I even got slightly stuck with my bike because I didn't have the strength in my back. Like every morning, my dad was sort of dragging me out the tent and getting me dressed and putting me on the bike for that second week. I just didn't have the strength to pick up the bike, so I was relying on people coming through cause on the fast going, I could sort of manage it, any big bumps or whatnot. But as soon as they dropped the bike, I was stuffed. So yeah, I was fortunate. But people would always help me, which was I was extremely fortunate for, because if I was on my own, I just wouldn't. Or if I'd have gone off track by like a kilometre and just gone a different route, I'd have just been knackered. So yeah, that was that day. That sand. That particular area, the sands, they call it like fesh, and it's like quicksand almost. It's so powdery, and you can't read it. I mean, the experts can't. I still struggle with reading certain dunes, but you can just be riding along, and your front wheel will disappear, and there's nothing you can do about it. It just will go. And the only other place I've ridden that sand is in Mauritania, and that was just north of Senegal, and that's known for this particular sand. But normally, sand can be quite predictable, or if it's had a bit of rainfall, a bit firmer, or even like if the rainfall was weeks ago, just like a centimetre down or two, it's still damp underneath. But yeah, this fesh sand, it's very weird. Like you have to ride it hard. Constantly, and the amount it takes out of you is unbelievable.
Because once you get yourself stuck in that sort of situation as well, is you don't want to put a load of power into the back wheel, because the back wheel is just going to spin it up again and just going to dig yourself back down into another ditch. So how do you, once you're out of it, is it just trying to start off in the biggest gear that you possibly can?
Yeah, it's you want to be if you can try and get away in second and get it rolling. And then once you're up to a certain speed, it will travel at that. But if obviously when you're cresting over dunes, there's a point where you're not going quick, and that's when you can be caught out. Or if you're having to turn, all these little moments are when it's so easy to get caught out. Or if you're going up a big dune, you have to know when you're not going to make it to the top. So you still have the momentum to turn around and get back down, rather than commit, get near the top, and then you just find yourself in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
So,
and when you're talking about dunes, I mean, these aren't things that we would see on some seashore in on the coast of England, is it, or the rest of the British Isles? Are these things massive?
Unbelievably big.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are like hundreds of metres tall.
And they move as well, don't they? Because obviously the wind moves the dune.
Yeah.
So if you thought Robbie would go through one day, if you went the next day, that dune wouldn't be the same, because they move.
And I suppose if these guys are ultra competitive, aren't they? These guys, and you want to go fast, and you'd be looking at your book as well to say how cautious you need to be. But if stuff's moving as well, how much do you give it? How much do you not give it? Or do you
reading the crest of the dunes is always the hardest, because each dune has a crest. So if you know you're hitting the crest, then you know it's going to be flat on the other side. So you can take it with some speed and jump through it. But inversely to that, if you get that wrong, you can end up going off the edge of a dune. Yeah. And that's where there's some not very nice stories have come out of going off edge of dunes.
Yeah.
I'm always maybe overcautious sometimes, which then penalises you because you get stuck more frequently. But I don't know. It's a very fine match. It's just practice. It's like the Arabs, the lads who live over there, they can read the dunes. Yep. It's no different if I go and ride an enduro around some boggy woodlands. I'm sure I could. I'm sure I'd probably be a lot quicker than them on these single rut tracks. Throwing it around, because that's what I've always done. So it is just practice when it comes down to the dunes.
But you sat here with your finishers medal,
Yeah.
and you're also sat here as the first British rider home.
Yes,
That's great. Great achievement.
There was one other thing I did find on your socials was the photography and some of those images. Like, I mean, Tom's massively into photography, and I was showing you, wasn't I? Do you have like how does that work? Do you have a crew with you? Is there a Dakar photographer, or do they have drones? Because I mean, Scott's a drone pilot. The stuff that was on there was incredible.
There's certain just photographers on the event, and I picked one. Like there might be like 4 or 5 different companies go out and do it, and there might be a group of 3 or 4 photographers each, and they'll get themselves placed along the course each day.
Right.
And then I just paid them a fee at the start, and they provided me with daily pictures.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, fair play to them actually, because they're never in the bivouac really. Every night they're camping out in the stars and keeping up with the rally. So they're sat for a lot of hours a day waiting for all the bikes and whatnot to come through, and then they have to then get in the car and drive most of the time, not on the road. So I do actually have a lot of respect for the photographer.
And hopefully we can share some of those images. And you've sent us some. So
there is some brilliant ones.
Stunning, absolutely stunning.
And I don't really get to appreciate the landscapes and things to go to.
It's going like that.
Yeah, because you're normally just staring in front of you, hoping not to come off.
And if you're standing in front of you, are you so not only looking at your road book, but you're also looking at where people have been previously as well. So if you've got the benefit of some tracks in front of you and you're thinking, great, I'll follow this, but then equally that might be somebody who's gone off the wrong way.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, fortunately from where I was running, there's normally like 30 bikes have gone through, but there is certain types of riding or certain ground conditions where there isn't any tracks in front of you. And I'm always on my road book. It's just certain times, especially in the dunes, I might ease off the road book a bit to concentrate more on my riding. Then hopefully so I'll make less mistakes, can go a bit quicker rather than concentrating on my navigation as much. But I always know where I am. Well, I say this, I do get lost, but some people will just ride blatantly without following the road book, and then they just get lost all the time. But I always know which note I'm on and roughly where I am really. So it's a fine line how much you want to. If you really follow your road book and just stared at it, you won't go anywhere. It's that hard to find that balance of how much you really want to concentrate. Some people's mental capacity is greater where they really can share that much time with riding and concentrate, but I can only do so much. But yeah, it's one of them. And when you see the speed that especially the lads at the front are going whilst navigating, that is something I think absolute respect to the factory lads.
Yeah. What's your favourite terrain then when you do the Dakar?
Well, my favourite terrain is when I went to Portugal once, and it absolutely chucked it down.
Right.
And we were on these WRC tracks.
Yeah.
I think they had been used not that long back for a WRC event or some big rally. And it was so boggy, and I was just absolutely in my element.
Really? That would be the worst.
That'll be the British weather then.
Yeah. But in general, I excel on just the really fast stuff, where some people I think might back off a little bit.
And I think you were saying to me previous when we met some months ago and we were chatting about stuff about last year, not this year, and you were saying it's all right when you get on some like flatter stages, it's great, but that's also maybe some of the stages that some of the cars are going to come past you. Yeah, and if you're just then going to end up in a sandstorm. And how do you manage that?
So on each day I probably had maybe on average the top 10 cars past me. I believe they start half an hour after the last bike. Might have been 45 minutes, can't remember. But they're really travelling like the factory Fords, and you've got some serious bits of kit, and you can hear them coming a mile off. But well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But you get they have their co-driver is able to send a signal once they're within 800 metres of you, and that bleeps to me. It just like do-do-do-do-do-do.
And is that inside the comms in your helmet? or
That's
is it
on the
just on
bike. There's a little, not horn thing, it's called a Sentinel. But that bleeps loudly, and then you know, well, that also bleeps when there's a triple caution as well.
Right.
It only bleeps for triples, not doubles. Actually, it did bleep for doubles on this year's Dakar, but previously it didn't. They give you that first warning, and then I sort of have a glance, see how far away they are from me. Normally, I'll just press on for another sort of 10, 15 seconds, and then they'll really start to close on you. And if you don't move, it depends who the driver is. Quite often, if they're an ex-biker, which a lot of them are, ex-professional riders who've then moved into the cars, they'll give you space, but some lads are not as nice. And it's absolutely horrible when they come flying past you. There's just the noise, the stones, and everything it's incredible when they come past you, and they're throwing up stones, like bigger than your fist. So it's you don't want to get behind them. And the problem is, on the fast stuff, as soon as they come past you, they're sending up a wall of dust behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And now quite often it's all right when we're flying along through like round little bushes and large rocks and anything that might have been like just stuff's left out in the desert. Quite often old tyres, anything, a little fence. As soon as they come past you, you can't see anything, and you're travelling at high speed.
Right. Wow.
So I always just back straight. Well, quite often I look behind me to see which way the wind's blowing and try and get upwind of the car. So that at least gives you a little bit of breathing room. But yeah, a lot of accidents have come from dust, and that's even when I'm following a rider. If I catch a rider, it's how much risk you're willing to take to get past that rider. And sometimes it's really hard to restrain yourself. Quite often you just say, I'll just nip pat, and then next minute you're over the bars or whatever. But yeah, fortunately the trucks, which are like
the trucks. I was going to ask you about the trucks.
they're about 4 times as big as the cars. I've only had one event, because the trucks start at the very back. I've only had one event, that was the Morocco Desert Challenge, where they actually caught me, and that was scary. That was really, because when there must be, I don't know, they're bigger than 12 foot high. There must be. When you stand next to them, you just feel like a minnow. And yeah, so when they came past you, they would just straight line anything. So we'd be going down these rocky tracks, anything's like, it's catching your front wheel, everything. So he's trying to go quick, and they would just get the compass heading and just do a straight line, and they'd be hitting boulders. Flat out. And so
That's mad. That is mad.
if you watch any videos on YouTube of the trucks, they're just
And like you said, they are massive. They are massive trucks.
massive, gigantic things.
And the horsepower in them are nuts.
Yeah, I bet there'd be some. I don't know the stats, but I bet if you went through, you'd probably be quite impressed by them.
So I know that there was one stage this year that there was a British celebrity on, and I think you might have had a bit of a conversation with him, didn't you? Because was he waving? Was he just at the start line or something?
Yeah, well, so at the refuel, the race director was there. Actually, he quite often just flies along the event. I guess he does what he wants. Really, he's put the hard work in all year, so he just flies around watching the rally, and he was at the refuel. So, and yeah, you do sort of notice it in your peripheral. Oh, he's here. David Castera's here. And then I went to go and fill up my Camelback, and then just sat on like one of the little camping chairs next to it. There was Mark Cavendish sat there, and I sort of like double took, looked at him, and then I don't know, it was really unusual. I just went, "Oh, now Mark," it was just really unusual that it was just to see him there, and me forgetting, like, I'm not really into my cycling that much, but like over there with the Tour de France, and the Dakar is predominantly French orientated, and then once I got chatting to him, all like the French and Italian riders they must have thought I was mates with him, and they were all like sort of sat around listening to me chatting with him. And I said to him, "Oh, would you do Dakar?" Because he can ride a bike. Well, he's from the Isle of Man, so it's in the blood. He grew up, so it's in his blood. And he says, I don't think I can put myself through much more pain in my life. I said, well, fair enough. And then as soon as I walked away, everyone sort of rushed over to him, can I have a selfie or whatever? Wow. I was just like, all right, see you later.
Can you hold these up a bit for us, Mark?
And then when I got riding, I thought, does he have a knighthood? I was like, he does, yeah. Should have maybe a bit more formal with him.
Sir.
I probably would have said complete opposite. He said, do not call me that.
So I'm going to ask you something else as well. I know I've asked other question, but we'll leave that till the end. And I was going to ask you about things like spare parts. So X-rays are doing them bits and pieces. And I suppose when you're getting blasted by cars with sand and everything else, air filters and everything else are all going to get filled up and they're all going to need to be changed. I mean, is it every day that you're coming back that maintenance is getting done on the bike, tyres getting changed? I mean, how often do you go through sets of tyres?
I do a back tyre every day.
Wow. Wow.
How bad is the back tyre when you get off a stage?
Well, it's not raceable. After a long day, if on the marathon stage you have to do 2 days because you can't change your tyre on the night. So after 2 days, they are absolutely goosed. And there's quite a few lads, actually, tyres completely failed on the second day. Because you're pushing them that hard. I was cautious with mine on both of the marathon days. So I do brand new back tyre every day and a new... Well, I think like for the prologue and stuff, you can reuse that one and try and find a shorter stage to squeeze it in. But yeah, rule of thumb's new back every day and then new front every other day. But I think we did stretch a few fronts out 3 days. It's just dependent on the terrain. Like in the dunes, so you don't really wet your tyres that much. But anything like slightly rocky, it'll just take the edge off.
Sure. And you're having to buy those yourself, or are you getting sponsored by some manufacturer? Or
no, I had to buy them.
Which is really, when we were chatting to somebody at Michelin, weren't we?
Yeah.
Michelin, he was going off to do the bike racing at Croft over near Darlington. And he was going to support because I think they sponsor the series. So basically all the riders were getting the tyres as part of, the series. And it was like, wow. I mean, just the amount of money. And have you got to take all of that kit with you, or is it all?
Yeah.
You've got to. So all that goes to Barcelona and then shipped out from Barcelona. Yeah. Wow.
And what's your favourite brand? What tyres are you running?
I have Michelin Desert Race, and there's two. There's Desert Race Baja. The Baja one's a bit more motocrossy, you could say. Yeah. The Desert Race it's more like an adventure bike tyre, really. But that, because we run mooses with them, so I guess you know what they are. Yeah.
No.
No, mooses. So they're, instead of an inner tube, a moose is just like a foam inner.
I know.
It's just it's a completely solid.
Like a swimming float.
Yeah, it's exactly like a swimming float. So it's just one of them, and the Desert Moose is extremely hard, so it's really difficult to put in. Whereas on my enduro bike, we just use an old moose, and it might, like on my enduro bike, it might replicate like 6-7 psi, but the Desert Moose is twice as hard as that. And we use a new rear moose every other day, but like they're like 200 quid or whatever.
I think so.
But that's just, if you're going to go all that way, don't skimp on things like tyres and, the amount of times we were sat thinking about buying stuff and it was something that's like 80 quid or 100 quid. And we go, do we really need it? And then I'm just like, I've just paid like X amount for the entry fee. And I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Was it about 22,000 euros for the entry fee or something like that? Is it?
I think the entry is 20,000 euros. I might be getting muddled up with my pounds in euros. You do get a lot for that, to be fair.
That's all your fuel, isn't it? And your
all fuel, and food, everything, and then
your tent in the desert.
Yeah,
and your sleeping bag
and your toilet.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the costs must go to the medical side of things because it's like a fully operational hospital. They have at each bivouac. Right, you can get a CT scan, X-ray, everything on all that's towed in this wagon. So anything you need, they've got it.
Well, even the helicopters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Years ago, we did some filming, and the helicopter was $6,000 an hour just to hire it to shoot a bit of content, you know. So they're very expensive and they run. So that must be. They've got what, 5 or 6 of these helicopters?
About 14.
Oh, right. Wow.
And they're flying every day for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
And if you think about how many people are racing, 14 helicopters is not a lot.
No.
Considering if you have to go and
It was like
remove people.
400 competitors, I think, 500 competitors in total in the rally.
And are you wearing, from a safety point of view as well, from a helmet perspective, is it just one helmet all the way through? Or have you got a couple of different helmets?
Well, most people bring a spare, but I only had one. So I thought... I did also think if I take a spare, then you sort of admitting to crashing.
That's true.
You know, I didn't like to maybe follow
But that superstition to one side, let's just do one helmet.
I only need one
make
helmet.
it.
Don't I? Yes, you do only need one helmet.
And it was the graphics and everything, Motorrad Connection did it, didn't it?
Great job.
The fabulous job, it looked absolutely brilliant.
Tom will put some pictures up, I think, definitely.
But I actually had a struggle with the helmet beforehand because this year the FIM brought in a new homologation for the helmets, which sort of bit everyone a bit because there was only 2-3 manufacturers actually had one commercially available to go in the shop and get. So I always have used Bell helmets all my life just because they fit my head brilliantly, and I think they're the best helmets. But yeah, I couldn't get my hands on a Bell helmet unless I was like a Bell rider, which I'm not. So like this standard of helmet. Anyway, I managed to get this other one, LS2 helmet. It was after the Motorcycle Live show. Is that right?
Yeah, in NEC.
Yeah, they had one in stock in Birmingham, which was just sheer luck. And this was the point where we were like, I'm not getting a helmet, and you have to have this one because they scan it. It's got a little QR code on, so there's no cheating the system and just saying, oh yeah, put that sticker on. You know, like people used to do ACU sticker on the back of helmet they bought off eBay. But yeah,
You're telling everybody the secrets now.
I bet you can get them now if you want. But yeah, so this one, so that was a bit nerve wracking from that point of view. But yeah, no, it was nice to get the help from them with that.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Have you had nobody come like forward and saying, do you know what, Robbie? And I'll go back to that question. Would you do it again or will you do it again? Because if you do qualify for the next couple of years, doesn't necessarily go do it in 27. Could you do it in 28 or 29? But have you had nobody come say, well, Bell helmets, there we go. We'll give you a helmet, Robbie, and you can do that, or Alpine Stars or whatever, and get something because you were the best British rider in the whole event.
Well, I think there's 2 parts to that question. First part is, will I go back? And the answer to that, I haven't found an answer to it. Last time it took me until May, June last year. Up until that point, I was saying, absolutely never doing that again in my life. No chance, because of how awful it was. But this year, because I finished, it was... I didn't have that feeling. I'm still in the mindset now as, I don't want to go through that 2 weeks, but I'm not as negative as I was to it last year. Yeah. But I guess it's like, if you ask a bloke who's just come down Everest, do you want to go back up straight away? He'd be like, absolutely not. But then give him a couple of years or something, he'd say, maybe I'll have another run at that. So first part to it, the answer is I don't know. But this next year's the 49th anniversary, and the following year's the 50th anniversary.
Yeah. Right.
So there is a bite for that. So you could say that would be one way to look at it. But I do want to ride bikes, and I do want to do something exciting. So, but I have to go back for the right reasons, because you're running the gauntlet again.
Absolutely.
You're putting a lot on the line every time you do that, and it's not. You have to be slightly. Yeah. You have to use your brain when you're making decisions like that.
How many British riders were there?
So this year there was 4. Well, there was 5 of us actually, and one of the lads, James Hillier, TT rider, he went out on the first day actually, which was really unfortunate because he's not too dissimilar speed to me. So throughout the rally we'd have been riding together. At the fuel stops and stuff, you have someone to chat to. I mean, you still make other mates and whatnot throughout the event. But it's always just nice to have British lads there. But and then the other 3 lads, there was 2 brothers, the Searle brothers and Neil Hawker. So it was nice to have them there. And then them 3 finished, so that was brilliant. For 4 of us to get to the end out of 5. It was just a shame about James. He had a fall and broke his arm on the first day, and he said he wasn't even pushing that much. It was just one of them things, just really unfortunate. So, yeah. I mean, ideally you want everyone to finish, but
exactly.
that it is one of them events where you don't wish bad upon anyone.
No.
Because you know how much risk you're all taking. So yeah, but no, we got there, so it was nice to see the lads finished. Yeah.
So outside of the Dakar, then, do you? Because we're all road riders. If we do go off road, it's not on purpose. And I have been in a ditch. And
I would like to go on purpose. So I would like to.
We have talked about maybe going and doing one of the off-road schools, but I don't know. But at my age,
We all went to ABR last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah,
Loved it.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I went for a day. I thought it was really good.
Really good festival. Yeah.
Really
So
good.
do you do any road riding? I know you mentioned there you love the bog and all that kind of stuff, but do you go on the road? And if so, do you have any particular routes that you go?
Not really.
No.
I have a bike license, but I don't have a road bike.
Right.
I've been on once could have been in COVID. My dad's got a little like cafe racer thing, Kawasaki VN800 converted, and I took that to Richmond to go and see my pals, and there was nobody on the road. Anyway, I was pushing on and I'd even said, "Oh, I'll just go steady," And
I think we know what that means, don't we? Is it called making progress?
yeah. And on the way back, I made a lot of progress. And then I just couldn't go steady.
Yeah.
But any time I've ever ridden a bike, it's the first thing I do is you go as fast as you can, because I've never had that sort of like leisure, casual riding experience. It's always been, and when you're on a bike, you're racing, and I found it really hard to not go as fast as I could.
I think you need to go at the TT, I think you've probably got the right attitude to go as fast as you can.
But yeah, so I sort of sideline road riding after that. And I do, I know I take silly risks doing things like Dakar, but I always feel like that's calculated risk, and that's my own personal risk, whereas when you're on the road, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And often does.
As we know.
As we both know, don't
all
we?
it takes is like Mrs. Miggins to pull out, and
she's the worst. She's always going into people.
And don't need Mrs. Mickens either, do you,
Just
really?
need some more diesel on the road.
Diesel on the road, yeah. Scotty's got a lovely video he could show you. Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. But before you go, we've got a couple of fast questions. All right,
I'm not
for you.
good at them.
Oh, you're all right, Robbie.
These
are quick fire
He
questions.
can edit
so-
out the gap, the thinking gap.
No, keep it in. So if money was no object, what bike would you buy?
Probably another brand new KTM 450 Rally.
There you go. So he's going to do. Well, there you go. You're going to do some racing, aren't you? Maybe
would
not
like-
the Dakar. But you
I
might
would
do some.
like an old Indian from 1910 or something.
Wow.
Some really cool bike like that.
Is that to go to Richmond then?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
The waterfalls.
So who's your motorcycling hero?
I don't know. I mean, from an enduro point of view, you'd have to look at the likes of Graham Jarvis.
All right, okay. And we all look blank for a moment, don't we?
Yeah.
Tom will
We'll
bring
put
some
something
pictures
up
of
with
it.
Graham. Yeah.
I recognise the name.
Yeah. So, favourite place to ride your bikes?
My favourite venue is probably, it was where I won my first race, and that was a quarry in Scunthorpe.
Oh, wow.
Miles away.
And just in quarries, I always used to do really well when I was growing up. So that type of riding suits me, sort of.
I thought you were going to say somewhere in Morocco and all.
Yeah, I
thinking
was
of
expecting
a dank
obviously.
dark day
No,
in
like a
Scunthorpe.
nice weekend ride. Yeah,
Would it be in the wet as well, Robbie? Would it be in the wet?
yeah, it would have to be in the wet.
Yeah.
It'd have to be in the wet. That's in me happy place.
Wow.
All right, so keep in your happy place and you've got a couple of quid in your pocket, yeah? And you're going to go and buy yourself something. Is it going to be a new helmet, new boots, new clothing, something else? What are you going to go and buy? New tyres it's going to be. I'm not even
I mean, I've never really been one for getting blingy bits, because my dad always said if it don't make the bike go faster, we're not buying it. If it's-
Scotty,
I'm screwed then.
You need to learn.
Terrible.
but I'd probably get a new helmet, full carbon fibre, and then get it get a custom paint job on it.
Nice.
That's cool.
Well, Robbie, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm really delighted that you came along and tonight, because it's been fabulous, and we've learned so much. There's so much we still need to learn as well. So thank you so much for coming along.
Honestly, thank you very much for coming along, Robbie. It's been absolutely great to finally meet you. So that's it for tonight's episode.
Anstey in the medal, Anstey in the medal.
Unseen the medal, absolutely. Thanks for coming along.
Not many of them about.
And no, I can imagine, certainly for British riders. And thanks very much, and we'll see you on the next episode. Good night for all of us.
Robbie Wallace, everyone.
Robbie Wallace. And out.